Let's now go to this conversation with South Africa heading towards elections. The spotlight again is on voter education. So on Friday, Spark Schools Soweto hosted a voting day in partnership with the Independent Electoral Commission. And this, of course, was aiming at teaching the little ones about the importance of voting and the importance of our democracy. So quite an important one, especially when you think about, how this conversation, when people talk about voter education, sometimes they think about, for adults. And what does it look like then when you're teaching young people, when you're teaching children what our democracy means? How then do we vote? What becomes the different processes that unfold, especially, around this time? And what should they then be looking out for? And what conversations should the parents be having with them, especially around some of these subjects? So this is what this particular school has in fact been doing. And we now have Khanyisile Zwane, who is Schools Witpoortjie's principal, and will also be joined later on by Moses Pitso, who's a manager, Outreach-Gauteng Provincial Office from the IEC. Khanyisile, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I mean, looking at the pictures themselves, it was so heartwarming to see. So let's just start by talking about why this decision for, these little ones to be taught about such an important part of our country.
Thank you for having me, and good evening to the viewers at home as well. So we as a school often try to celebrate our national days, our important days, but we thought around Freedom Day that we should not only just commemorate the significance of this day, but also link it to the upcoming elections. Many of our scholars have been exposed to conversations around the elections that are upcoming, be it on the news, radio, or amongst the adults. So we wanted to bring a hands-on experience of what this day means and what it is. And this was to also allow our scholars to be informed, responsible future citizens. So we decided, and we reached out to our IEC branch that was very much hands-on, and were like, hey, let's do this. And they provided us with the resources to enable our scholars to have this mock voting event.
And I hope, Moses, you're able to hear us now. I'm looking at these pictures and those little marks there on their fingertips to signify that they voted, and looking at a number of them there going to the ballot box and getting an experience that their adults would get. I mean, this is something that we can look at and we admire, but it's so important for us to teach them. Let's talk about the importance of teaching them from this age about this important voting process. Moses, are you able to hear us?
Is it me?
Yes, Moses, you can go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I don't know. I can't see you. I can only see Khanyisile.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, indeed. As long as you can hear me, that's okay by me. Indeed, the IEC undertakes this program of capacitating our youngsters at schools from an early age to appreciate the importance of participating in our democracy, particularly electoral democracy in the country, because as IEC, we believe that electoral democracy is essentially part of the cornerstone of our democracy in the country, because this is the only way through which a government is elected in this country. So during this week, this past week, the IEC has been going into schools as a way of amplifying the program of our school democracy program, which I'm sure Khanyisile could attest to, that we are doing this throughout the year. However, during this period of the Democracy Month, we make launches around the schools around the country just to amplify the program that essentially goes on throughout the year.
And when it comes to, of course, what you are teaching them throughout the year, and you talk about democracy, Moses, you also talk about, the electoral processes as well that are important. Let's discuss the importance of starting them at this age. What becomes the benefits for the country then going forward when they start right now?
Well, you see, we believe that if kids participate and get experienced in this process, at the time when it's required by law for them to participate in the national projects, the number one would be sufficiently informed on how to participate. But number two, would appreciate why they are participating, because they would have seen in their schools as they grow up that for them to be able to have leadership they need to engage in this process of selection, so that they then select people that they feel are capable, who would be able to provide them the type of leadership that they believe that they need, so that they continuously or progressively as the country, we do not lose this momentum of entrenching democracy in the country through elections. Because I'm sure you're aware that in most of the countries, north of our borders, they started this process earlier on, years back, and somewhere along the line, they stopped participating in this process, and the negative externalities have led them to where they are today. Hence, most of them find them in our country. So we feel that as South Africa, we need to engage the kids at a very young age, just to make sure that we don't lose the momentum. We entrench, we keep on building this democracy, because, the work of building never ceases.
And Khanyisile, what are some of the differences that you see from your learners just post some of these educational activities that you then provide for them?
So for starters is the engagement and discussion. Scholars show better understanding and comprehension around the voting process, around issues that they are faced with in their communities. It brings more context and relevance to what is happening around them. More often than not, our scholars are aware, but they are never awarded the opportunity to understand. So once they become informed, they want to engage in discussions and debates, and they have a sense of empowerment and responsibility.
Let me thank you both for your time, and really this has been so heartwarming to see, and also just to watch what has been happening there, and really just talk about the importance of it. So Khanyisile, maybe I might come, Nami, and just be like a little one and vote there when you have those mock days. But thank you so much. Thank you so much to you both for your time. Appreciate it. That is Khanyisile Zwane, Schools Witpoortjie's principal, and Moses Pitso, the manager, Outreach-Gauteng Provincial Office of the IEC.